Have you ever given any thought to the question of how you can turn into the best version of yourself when it comes to relationships? It is a question that many people might ask because, at our core, we all have a desire to be loved, respected, and to be genuinely valued by the people in our immediate environment. However, how can we accomplish this? What are some ways that we can earn genuine admiration, not just for our accomplishments or superficial qualities, but for who we are at our very core? Imagine that every relationship is an adventure, and that you are the one who is going to be the one to discover yourself. You have the desire to unearth the treasures that are concealed within your soul and to share them with other people. In order to accomplish this, however, you will require a map, a path that will ultimately lead to love, understanding, and connection. Based on 9 ancient Stoic philosophical lessons, I will walk you through the process of determining your true value in a relationship today. Therefore, pay attention, because the pieces of advice that you frequently hear are not merely empty statements. It's about giving yourself power in ways that you might not have even considered before. Getting ready to shed light on the mysteries of cultivating a life filled with love and meaningful relationships, ones that are built on mutual respect and inner strength, is something you should get ready to do. The time has come to get started. First and foremost, you must comprehend your actual value. To what extent does Stoicism contribute to the comprehension of your value in interpersonal relationships? Stoics held the belief that we should zero in on the things that we have control over, and guess what? Your self-worth is completely within your control at all times. You should not be concerned with the number of likes you receive on social media or whether or not someone shows interest in you. How you perceive and value yourself is the most important thing. Simply put yourself in the position of a precious stone. You do realize that not everyone is aware of the value of a rare gem, right? It's possible that some people will walk by without recognizing its significance. Despite this, the gem's value is not diminished in any way. The fact that it is precious, rare, and unique does not change. That would be you. The mere fact that someone fails to recognize your worth does not diminish its value. Now, let's be honest, we've all been rejected and felt like we didn't measure up, especially in this modern world where everyone seems to be doing so well. However, here is the most important thing to know when you adopt a Stoic perspective. Your value is not dependent on the approval of another person. It is connected to the way you conduct yourself, the principles you uphold, and the actions you take. Are you a compassionate person? Are you being accurate? Do you live your life in a way that is congruent with the values that you hold? That is the precise location where your true value lies. Reflecting on oneself was a central tenet of the Stoic philosophy. Therefore, take a moment to think about your qualities, not just the ones that are immediately apparent, but also the more profound aspects. What is it that truly defines you? And you will discover your strength. When it comes to relationships, it is an important thing to find strength in your own value and self-worth, regardless of whether or not other people acknowledge it. Always keep in mind that gaining an understanding of your worth is not a one-time occurrence. Rather, it is a never-ending journey and a practice that develops over the course of time. It is about waking up every day and declaring to yourself that you have value, not because of the opinions of other people, but because of the qualities that are innate to you and that make you who you are. Lesson 2. Exhibit dignity in your appearance. First things first, before you start imagining a Stoic as this stern, unflappable figure from ancient times, allow me to set the record straight. Stoicism is not about repressing your feelings or being indifferent. Rather, it is about recognizing what's deserving of your energy and what does not deserve it? And what do you think? Your energy is well deserved because of the way you present yourself. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about what it means to present yourself with dignity in relationships. Are you aware of the fact that there are times when we go to great lengths in order to impress someone, only to end up losing sight of who in reality we are? In an effort to win approval, we alter our appearance and the way we speak in order to impress others. However, here is the most important point, and this is where our level-headed and sage perspective comes into play. Your sense of self-respect is not dependent on the fashions you wear or the places you frequent that are considered to be trendy. The manner in which you demonstrate yourself, the actions you take, and the choices you make are all important factors. Imagine that you are in a classroom and that you are watching two students both give presentations. The other student is calm and speaks with self-assurance without any pretense, while the first student is flamboyant and uses big words and gestures to impress the audience. In your opinion, which student leaves an impression that lasts a lifetime? The person who is genuine and at ease in their own skin is frequently the one who is successful, isn't it? The significance of presenting oneself with dignity is being brought to light by this. Stoics, who are famous for their philosophy of self-control and virtue, placed a strong emphasis on the importance of living your life in an honest manner and respecting yourself. So, how does this hold true for dating in the modern era? It's nothing complicated, just be genuine and genuine yourself. If you spend a lot of time reading, you should embrace that. If you have a deep interest in something, you should not be afraid to show it. It is not about going through the motions of pretending to be someone else, rather. It is about being comfortable and self-assured in who you are, and having the realization that you are valuable in your own right. And here's yet another essential point: you should show respect to yourself. The standard by which you treat yourself will determine the manner in which other people will treat you. When you constantly criticize yourself, you are essentially indicating that it is acceptable for other people to conduct themselves in the same manner. Nevertheless, when you respect yourself and value your time, energy, and emotions, you are making a bold statement: I am deserving of respect, and I anticipate being treated in a manner that is commensurate with that respect. Consider what Epictetus, a wise Stoic philosopher, once said: it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters when it comes to relationships. It is not only about your appearance or the words you say, it is also about how you respond and how you behave in different situations. In what manner do you respond, with desperation or with dignity? Have you chosen to compromise your values in order to fit in with the crowd, or have you chosen to remain true to who you are, even if it means standing by yourself? There is no need for perfection in this situation. We are all human, with our own shortcomings and awkward moments. The way in which you respond to those moments is what really matters. Do you crumble under the weight of pressure, or do you maintain your strength, continue to learn, and keep going? Let's pause for a moment and think about it. How can we start to conduct ourselves in a more dignified manner? This may involve establishing distinct boundaries or refusing to engage in activities that are in conflict with our core beliefs. It could also mean showing ourselves more compassion and respect in our interactions with ourselves. When you begin to see yourself as someone who is deserving of respect, others will start to see it as well. Lesson 3. Mastering the art of communicating without verbalizing. At first, I may come across as a little bit traditional or stringent, but I ask that you please give me a chance to explain myself. It is not about being difficult to approach, rather. It is about giving yourself respect and acknowledging the value that you possess. When it comes to this matter, What does Stoicism have to say? Stoicism teaches us how to maintain our strength and self-control, but it does so in a way that is not overly regimented or monotonous. The key is to have a discerning understanding of what truly matters and to avoid giving it away too easily. Stoicism is like a breath of fresh air in a world where we want things right away and keep scrolling endlessly at the same time. Let's talk about it, shall we? When we are in a relationship with someone or when we are getting to know someone, there is frequently a rush to share everything with them, including our time, our space, and our most profound emotions. Stoics, on the other hand, would recommend taking a step back. How come? Because something loses its uniqueness when it is always available to a large number of people. It's just the way that people are. The excitement, the mystery, and the anticipation are all missing if you are always there whenever someone needs you and if you always say yes to everything. Let us discuss the Stoic approach to setting boundaries and how to do so in a graceful manner. Your outward appearance is the first step in the process. Dressing in a way that is both fashionable and modest is not just about appearance, as it conveys a message. It conveys the message, I respect myself. You are not hiding who you are, but you are also not disclosing everything right away. It's about creating a sense of equilibrium and saying, there's more to me than what you see. Time management and concentration are two more essential aspects to consider. One of the meaningful choices you can make in today's hyper-connected world is to be selective about the people who receive your time. It is not about playing games, rather, it is about affirming my time is precious and I prioritize it thoughtfully. When you are with someone, you should be fully present and engaged in the conversation. On the other hand, when you are not, it is acceptable to be unavailable and to devote your energy to your own life, interests, and personal development. In addition, Stoicism places an emphasis on emotional self-control. It does not advocate for being cold or disconnected, rather, it encourages maintaining a balanced perspective on life. This means that you should not let simple things have a significant impact on you. Being able to maintain one's composure and inner peace is essential. It is not something that you freely give your emotional energy to everyone, rather, it is something that should be earned, similar to how you selectively allocate your time and attention. On the other hand, I am not suggesting that you should become emotionless or emotionally distant like a statue. We are all human, and in order to live a life that is meaningful, it is necessary to possess genuine connections. On the other hand, there is something unique about taking things at a steady pace and forming connections that are not solely based on the desire for instant gratification. Rather than focusing on instant access and quick fixes, the focus should be on developing meaningful relationships that are both deep and long-lasting. When it comes to setting limits, it is essential to keep in mind that it is not about manipulating situations or practicing tricks. It is about having respect for yourself and remaining true to the principles that you hold dear. In order to show that you value yourself and that you are deserving of being treated with respect, it is important to demonstrate this not only through words but also through actions. We should strive to be a little more selective, composed, and stoic in our approach to relationships. So here's to that. It is about finding a middle ground between being open and being discerning, between sharing and holding back a little bit of information. Believe me when I say that it has a significant impact on how other people perceive and interact with you. In today's dating scene, here's celebrating the importance of valuing ourselves and embracing a little bit of stoicism. Lesson 4. Always be prepared to leave. There is a powerful concept in Stoicism that pertains to letting go, not in a dispassionate or uncaring manner, but rather in the understanding of what we are able to change and what we are unable to change. The decision of whether to remain in a circumstance that is not conducive to our well-being or to leave it is one of the most liberating actions that we are able to take into consideration. Especially when it comes to relationships, this becomes especially significant. Don't you think that we've all been through this before? Being in a situation in which we are aware that we are deserving of better, but we pick to remain there. It could be the fear of being alone, the fear of change, or simply the fear of not being able to completely let go of hope for better times. However, this is where Stoicism comes into play. Understanding that we have the ability to remain in or leave situations that are in direct opposition to our values, and that we have the ability to choose a different course of action, is the source of true strength. This does not imply that you should give up as soon as things become difficult. Relationships require effort, understanding, and time between the parties involved. Nevertheless, it is of the utmost importance to have such a profound understanding of your principles and self-worth that you are ready to move on after encountering something that fundamentally contradicts them. It is about having the inner fortitude and stoic courage to say, "I respect myself too much to settle for less than I deserve." It is about having that inner resilience. Let us delve even further into this concept. Respecting yourself is the utmost importance when it comes to being ready to leave a situation. It means remaining true to your beliefs and being aware of the value you bring to the world. Exiting a situation does not always have to be a big, dramatic event. Sometimes it is a quiet choice, a peaceful realization that this is not the right fit for you. I can empathize with how frightening it can be. I know how you feel. Fear can be caused by the unpredictability of the future. However, we should consider our Stoic friends. They taught us the significance of facing challenges with bravery and accepting the unpredictability that is a part of life. Understanding that letting go of something that isn't in alignment with your path can sometimes be the most courageous thing you can do is the solution to this problem. This point of view has the potential to change everything. The realization that you are in a relationship because it reflects your values and not because you are afraid to leave it is a game changer. This realization occurs when you are in a relationship. It causes a shift in the entire dynamic. You are not staying because you are desperate or afraid, rather, you are staying because it is a choice that you have made for yourself. And here is the most important thing to keep in mind: when you courageously get away from things that aren't beneficial to you, you make room for things that are. Getting rid of the clutter from the past in order to make room for the future. What is important is that you have faith that there are better things waiting for you, and that you give yourself the opportunity to find them. It is important to keep in mind that being ready to move on does not mean being cold or unmoved by the situation. It is about comprehending that our worth is not dependent on anyone or anything else, and it is about demonstrating stoicism when we are confronted with challenges. It is about valuing and caring for ourselves to the extent that we are able to say, "I deserve something better." Lesson 5. Establishing boundaries in a quiet manner. The philosophy of Stoicism places a greater emphasis on actions than it does on words. The Stoics advocated for demonstrating an individual's beliefs rather than simply stating them, which is especially pertinent when discussing the establishment of boundaries in interpersonal relationships. It is one thing to talk about your boundaries, but it is a greatly more powerful thing to demonstrate them through the actions that you take. Please take into consideration the following. It is simple to declare, "I will not tolerate mistreatment." But the true test comes when you are confronted with such behavior. Will you stick to your boundaries, or will you be willing to make concessions? True strength is not found in words, but rather in actions. This is where it is found. I am aware that this is not a straightforward thing. There are times when it can be difficult, particularly when feelings are involved. On the other hand, let us not forget the sage advice of the Stoics. We have the ability to choose how we react to different circumstances. It is not just your words that establish and enforce a boundary, rather, it is your response that establishes and enforces that boundary when someone crosses it. Imagine a scenario in which you hold honesty as one of your most important values, and for some reason someone tells you a lie. How you react in that particular moment reveals the level of seriousness with which you approach your boundaries. You are demonstrating your commitment to your values through the actions that you take, regardless of whether you choose to approach the problem with composure or to take a step back. It's not about making things more difficult, it's about demonstrating that you have respect for yourself by responding in a manner that is congruent with your core values. This approach has the potential to drastically alter the dynamics of relationships. When other people observe that you have well-defined boundaries and are willing to enforce them, they are able to establish a better understanding of the things that you will and will not tolerate. Self-respect is something that should be cultivated and maintained without wavering. In order to better understand a fundamental idea, let's take a straightforward approach. The moments that occur on a daily basis are just as important as the significant events that take place. In the event that your plans are suddenly altered, or if someone does not value you sufficiently, what is your response? You either ignore it or you calmly express through words and actions that such behavior is not acceptable. Which of these two options do you choose? The application of Stoic mindfulness comes into play at this point. Paying attention to the here and now and how you react to it is the key to success. Do you act in a manner that is consistent with your limits? Are you acting in a way that is genuine to yourself? Because your limits are frequently put to the test in the smallest of moments, it is essential to pay attention to the details of those smaller moments. While we go about our day and engage with other people, let us make it a goal to demonstrate a certain degree of stoicism in the way that we communicate our limits. It is not about being unyielding or stubborn, rather. It is about having that inner guide that determines how we ought to behave and how we should react. Also, believe me when I say that when you take this approach, people will take notice. As time goes on, they start to perceive you as someone who not only establishes boundaries but also values themselves sufficiently to follow through with them. Lesson 6. Actions speak louder than words. Stoic philosophy, as we have been learning, is about applying wisdom in real-world situations. In other words, it means judging people not only based on what they say, but also on what they say, but also on what they do. There are a lot of people in our world who say nice things but don't follow through with them. When it comes to relationships, this is especially true. It is the advice of Stoics that we should look past the allure and concentrate on our actions instead. Those who adhere to the Stoic philosophy encourage us to pay attention to actions because actions reveal actuality. Take into consideration the fact that it is not difficult for someone to say everything just right, to make promises, and to describe a future that appears to be perfect. However, do they actually comply with what they claim to do? The actions they take are consistent with what they say. The truth can be found in all of this. Let's be completely honest for a second. Haven't any of us ever been in this situation? We come across a person and they tell us incredible things, and we are captivated by them. On the other hand, as time passes, their actions do not correspond to what they say. Despite their assurances, they do not call. They make plans, but they end up cancelling them at the 11th hour. Despite this, we continue to cling to their words. At this point, our inner Stoic mindset needs to take control of the situation. Stoicism serves as a reminder that we should not allow ourselves to be influenced by words or to be overpowered by feelings. Being logical and having a clear perception of reality are both important. It is a red flag when the actions of a person do not correspond with the words that they have spoken. There is a shift in the way you approach relationships as a result of adopting this mindset. It is as if the universe is saying, "Hey, take notice, something isn't right here." Rather than allowing yourself to be carried away by wooing words and promises, you start paying attention to the smallest of details. When they are under pressure, how do they behave? Do they keep the commitments they make? Not only in words, but also in actions that have significance for you. Are they present for you? The fascinating part is that you establish a standard when you concentrate on what people do rather than just what they say. The fact that you are telling them, "I'm not just listening to your words, I'm watching your actions," is something that has a significant impact on this situation. They have come to the realization that they cannot simply talk their way into your life. Rather, they must demonstrate that they are genuine and deserving of your trust. Bear in mind, however, that this is not about being pessimistic or having doubts about everyone. When it comes to protecting your emotions with a healthy dose of Stoic insight, it is about being wise, keeping a level head, and not allowing your feelings to get the better of you is what it means. It is important to keep in mind that we should pay attention to actions rather than just words. When it comes to love, let's adopt a Stoic mindset, which means being rational, perceptive, and thoughtful. Mainly due to the fact that actions ultimately carry more weight than words alone. Lesson 7. Developing a healthy skepticism. Reality and Stoicism are inextricably linked to one next. Stoics held the belief that we should try to understand situations in their current state rather than trying to change them. Especially when it comes to love and dating, this philosophy is extremely helpful. Each and every one of us has been through it, right? If someone uses all the appropriate words, we are more likely to believe what they have to say. When there are warning signs, we choose to ignore them even though they are present. The adoption of a Stoic mindset can be advantageous in situations like these. One could say that having a healthy dose of skepticism is comparable to having a superpower. In other words, it is not about being pessimistic or distrustful. Rather, it is about maintaining a realistic outlook and not accepting everything without question. Being observant, asking questions, and not jumping into things without giving them some careful consideration are all characteristics of this kind of behavior. Take into consideration the following scenario: you meet a new person, and they seem to be wonderful. They are expressing a wide range of wonderful things, including discussing the possibility of a future together. But this has only been a brief period of time. Taking it easy, waiting to see if their actions are consistent with what they say, and keeping an eye on how things develop are all things that your skeptical and Stoic mindset would recommend to you. As if it were a gentle reality check, it encourages you to keep your feet firmly planted on the ground and to maintain a mindful and grounded attitude. It is not the intention of this skepticism to question the other person incessantly or to question their every action. It is more about being thoughtful than anything else. Therefore, it is necessary to not only pay attention to what they have to say, but also to watch how they behave. Taking the time to truly understand someone and determining whether or not they are genuine and consistent is a necessary step and process. Stoics placed a strong emphasis on using logic and reason rather than allowing oneself to be carried away by one's emotions. This approach is essential when it comes to relationships. When our feelings take over, we are more likely to miss information that is vital. On the other hand, when we combine our emotions with a healthy dose of skepticism and logical thinking, we are able to see things more clearly. In addition, here is yet another essential component. It is about giving your heart protection. When you keep a healthy dose of skepticism, you prevent yourself from jumping into something without having complete certainty. You are not projecting your desires onto the other person, rather, you are giving yourself the opportunity to understand the genuine nature of the other person. Therefore, let us not forget the significance of incorporating a touch of Stoic skepticism into our approach. Being intelligent, attentive, and not allowing our feelings to carry us away are all important aspects of this. Protecting ourselves and our mental health is the focus of this endeavor. It is not about isolating ourselves from new opportunities, rather, it is about approaching them with careful consideration and wisdom. Lesson 8. Being able to refuse with confidence. The Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of remaining true to one's own values and having the courage to do so on a consistent basis. When it comes to relationships, this is especially important to keep in mind when it comes to saying no. Understanding your beliefs and not being afraid to stick to your expectations, even if doing so causes some disruption, is what it means to have this understanding. Envision a scenario in which you are in a relationship and your partner makes a suggestion that you do not find to be satisfactory. You might be being asked to do something that goes against your values, or it might be moving too quickly. Despite the fact that the straightforward option might appear to be in line with it, this is where your Stoic mindset becomes extremely important. When faced with situations like these, it is essential to value yourself, your beliefs, and your limits in order to say no. To tell you the truth, this is not a typical stroll in the park. It can be extremely challenging, particularly if you have feelings for the person in question. However, here's the thing: we need to muster up our bravery in order to overcome the little voice in your head that keeps asking, what if saying no pushes them away? Stoicism is not only about dealing with things that are external. It is also about confronting our inner struggles by addressing them head-on. It is all about respecting oneself to say no. It is about demonstrating that you have a high regard for yourself and that you will not settle for anything less than what you deserve. As a matter of fact, that there is a possibility that you will end up losing them. However, here is the most important point: if you're able to push someone away by refusing something that is in direct opposition to your values, then it is possible that they were not going to be the right match for you in the first place. It is possible that adopting this strategy will completely alter the dynamics of a relationship. It is a significant change in how someone perceives you when they come to the realization that you are not afraid to refuse something and that you will not compromise your principles in order to satisfy them. It demonstrates that you consider yourself to be valuable and that you have respect for yourself. And let me tell you, that is a very appealing proposition. And here is yet another Stoic viewpoint: the act of saying no is not only about establishing boundaries with other people, it is also about being honest with oneself. It is about being able to identify your genuine wants and needs in a relationship and then sticking to those desires and needs. To avoid making choices that aren't in line with who you really are, you must make sure that you don't let the fear of being alone influence your choices. Take a moment to pause and think about this. I would like to affirm that the act of saying no is not only acceptable but also necessary. The Stoics placed a strong emphasis on living a life of integrity and remaining true to who we are as individuals. It is about cultivating relationships that are founded not on fear and concession, but on mutual respect and a genuine connection between the parties involved. The ninth lesson is to never chase while always valuing. There is a strong connection between this and everything that we have been discussing, particularly when we look at it from a Stoic point of view. Stoic philosophy instructs us to focus on the things that we are able to control and to let go of the things that we cannot. This concept has a significant impact on our thinking when we consider relationships. Realizing that pursuing someone who is moving away from us is not only pointless but also goes against valuing ourselves and knowing our own worth is what it means to come to terms with this realization. Imagine the following scenario: you are dating someone and everything seems to be going well, but then they begin to pull away from you. Our instinctive desire, which is something that each of us has experienced, is to chase after them in an effort to close that gap. So this is where Stoicism can be of assistance to us. The question that the Stoics would ask is, why are you pursuing something that is not within your control? The answer lies in your sense of self-worth, your dignity, and your inner peace. It is like trying to catch water in your hands. It is pointless and leaves you feeling empty. Chasing after someone who is pulling away from you is similar to that. The Stoic approach, on the other hand, encourages you to maintain a firm belief in your own self-worth. Allow someone to leave you alone if they are moving away from you. It is not about being emotionless or cold, rather. It is about coming to terms with the fact that you have no control over how other people feel or behave, but you do have complete control over how you choose to react to situations. Let's be honest, this is not an easy challenge. In order to resist the urge to chase someone, a significant amount of inner strength is required. On the other hand, it is essential to have faith that if someone truly values you, they will demonstrate that they do so. Doing so means refusing to allow the actions of another person to determine your value. It gives the impression that I deserve respect, and if you can't see that, someone else will. This way of thinking completely alters everything. You will regain control of the situation as a result. You no longer have to be dependent on the erratic actions of another person. You are now in charge of how you feel and what you do. It is liberating, and to tell you the truth, it is empowering. Moreover, here's the kicker: when you stop chasing after other people and start investing in yourself, your life, and your development, wonderful things happen. Because of your strength, self-confidence, and sense of self-worth, you are naturally drawn to people who are interested in you. You are sending out a message that declares, I value myself, and I am aware of it. This is the effect that you are having. Now, let's process this information internally. Let us restate that we will never be required to pursue anyone and everyone. When it comes to our relationships, let us adopt a Stoic mindset, which means remaining calm, respecting ourselves, and focusing on what we are able to control. This is not about seeking validation from other people, rather, it is about finding inner peace within ourselves itself. I want you to remember something very significant as we come to the end of our conversation today. I want you to keep it in your mind. In the vast canvas that is your life, your sense of self-worth is comparable to the most brilliant thread that holds everything together. The Stoics held the belief that you have the ability to choose how you react to the events that occur in your environment. Always keep in mind that you are the one who is in charge of your own honor and self-esteem. Embrace the power that lies within you. Allow your actions, choices, and boundaries to be a reflection of the incredible person that you are. Remember this moment and the Stoic wisdom that we have been discussing if you ever find yourself having doubts about yourself. Not only is life something you have to endure, but it is also an opportunity to develop on a daily basis, becoming more powerful and more knowledgeable. Do you want to learn more if you found today's conversation to be enjoyable? Check out the playlist that is currently being displayed on the screen. This book is packed with additional stories, insights, and advice that are designed to assist you in navigating life with a greater sense of wisdom and self-assurance. I encourage you to proceed with clicking on it, and together we will continue to make progress on this journey. I am grateful that you can participate in this discussion with me. Always keep in mind that you are not traveling through this journey by yourself. Each day, one step at a time, we are all working together to figure out what is going on. Take care of yourself, maintain your wisdom, and keep embracing the Stoic side of your personality until we meet again.